Greetings, everybody. Welcome back for another mini lesson. Today I want to talk a little bit about just the importance of following directions. One of the biggest things that I see as a college English teacher is people losing points needlessly for small things. Um, People get this idea, I think, that writing is some kind of magical uh mysterious thing that happens, and that you have to be super creative, or you have to go above and beyond, write the greatest thing that's ever been written. But that really can get you into a lot of trouble when it comes to college writing assignments. So I want to focus in today on how do you follow the directions. And this is something that I go over for all my classes during the weekly walkthrough videos, but I'm going to use a recent assignment as an example. So let me go ahead and share that. And I've got a sample of it in Word as well. So we're going to take a look at two documents here, but first we're going to look at the assignment itself. So this is from ENG 107 from Unit 4, and it was one of the formal writing assignments. All of the writing assignments at Post have a very important file that you need to take a look at. And I always point this out in my weekly walkthrough videos, but I think a lot of people skip over this. This link opens up a full assignment sheet. Now, some of them are longer than others. This one's only 3 pages, even with the rubric. But this is where everything that you need to know in order to get a good grade on your assignment is really in this document, along with, of course, having read the course materials, watched any videos, that helped you learn the materials that you need to know to do it. But all of the requirements are inside these documents. Now, I always encourage people to print them out, or at least save them on your computer, because this is a PDF. You can save it. This is the download button right here, the little arrow with the line under it. You can print it out. You can even print it to a PDF file and save it on your computer that way. There's a lot of things that you can do with it, but I highly suggest keeping it in print form so that you can look at it before you start, look at it while you're writing the assignment, and look at it again before you turn the assignment in to make sure that you have not missed anything. So I don't normally read these to people, but I'm going to read this because I want to point out why it's important to really dig into this document. So the overview was self-care routines are vital for student success. In this assignment, you will consider how self-care routines directly affect your study routines. You will also use one quote from the article to support your answer to the questions. So even in the overview, there's one requirement there that should stand out to you, and that is that there is going to be an article that you have to pull a direct quote from. This is an article that is supplied to you in the readings and resources for this week. Sometimes there'll be an extra link to a new article in this document. But if it says use this source, you need to use this source. So one of the things that people automatically kind of get wrong, and I don't really want to use that term because I understand that it's because we're trying to do more, but a lot of people will go find a quote from somewhere else on the internet somewhere and then stick it in this assignment. That's not what this is calling for. So again, it's about following the directions. Then we have the instructions. Read the following article found under this unit's readings and resources, and that, as I mentioned, is already there for you. And then we have a reference citation. This text right here is going to then become your reference. That's why it's called a reference citation. So in an APA document, we're going to have a cover page with all the identifying information. The document itself is going to start on page 2, and then we're going to have a reference. Now, we don't always have references, especially in a class like ENG 107. We might be writing more about our personal experience and things like that. But when there is research, whether it's something that you have found or whether it's something that is applied for you, there's going to be a reference page attached. And this is a pre-done APA reference. You don't have to do anything. You just copy it and paste it or retype it the way that it is here. And you want to do it exactly this way. The only difference is that this has not got the little hanging indent, which we'll take a look at when we look at the Word document. But otherwise, this is ready to go. You just have to copy the information into your own document. Now, this is really important. Then write 2 paragraphs. Do we write 1 paragraph? No. Do we write 7 paragraphs? Absolutely not. Okay. Sometimes people get over achievey. That's not a real word, but I am an English teacher, and do more than is asked for. Do not do more than is asked for. Sometimes you will lose points for having too many pages as opposed to not having enough pages. So absolutely do what is asked of you. In this particular case, each of the 2 paragraphs, here's a new requirement, need to be at least 6 sentences. Now, I'm not a huge fan of numbers of sentences for well-developed paragraphs, but it's part of the rubric, so it's important to note it here. What you really want to look for, though, is a well-developed paragraph is going to be about a half a page to 3/4 of a page once it is typed and double spaced, which all of your documents will be typed and double spaced. So we need to do 2. They need to be 6 sentences each that reflect on your self-care routines using 1 direct quote from the article. And there is information in direct quotes on using those in the lessons. So again, this sheet will tell you everything that's required of the assignment, but some of the things that you need to know to finish the assignment were included in what you were supposed to read and do and watch. So if you're not doing that, you're going to have a hard time. All right, paragraph 1. What is one self-care routine that you think works best for you and why? This is about you. This is easy-ish. Sometimes it's not easy to talk about ourselves, but what about one self-care routine that you think works best for you? So you could talk about anything. You could talk about going to the gym. You could talk about treating yourself to coffee in the morning, anything that you do for yourself for self-care. Then in the second paragraph, you have to talk about the article. Based on the article, what have you learned or what did you learn about self-care? So not only thinking about self-care and talking about self-care and doing the other self-care assignments, but what did you specifically learn about self-care reading the article by Grinstead from the Star Press? Select 1 quotation from the article to support your answer to the above question. And you have to include an in-text citation after the direct quote. And it even gives you, again, exactly what's going to happen in here, other than you have to fill in, instead of just saying author's last name, you have to put Grinstead. Instead of, typing out year, you have to type out 2019. And then if you have a page number, you would put that there. All right. For this paragraph, follow this format. Begin with your answer to the question. Based on this article, what did you learn about self-care? In Grinstead's article, I learned blah, 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 blah. Okay, answer that. Do exactly what it's asking you. Discuss your answer. I'm reminded of other things that I've done for self-care, et cetera, et cetera. Explain it. Discuss that answer. Then include your quote. And something that it doesn't say here, but I know I always try to instill this in people. Whenever you're going to include a direct quote in anything, you don't want it to just sit there by itself. So attach it to a sentence or phrase of your own. Sometimes it could just be attached to the previous sentence with a colon, like that introduces the quote. Or you can say, according to Grinstead, comma, and then include the direct quotation. At the end of the quote, so you have quotation marks, then you're going to have the in-text citation, which you already have the format of. and then a period, and then explain the quote. So at least another sentence or two about the quotation. Then wrap up the paragraph, one final sentence to kind of tie everything together. Then cut and paste the reference citation above onto a separate page with the title references. The references page should always be the last page of your assignment. Then we have requirements that you can double check. Are you submitting it as a Word document in APA format? Does it have a title page? Does it have double-spaced information starting on page 2? Does it have 1-inch margins? Does it have a recommended font? Usually Times New Roman 12 is what we're looking for. And does it include a reference page with that exact citation on it? Have you written 2 paragraphs of at least 6 sentences each that answer the above questions? Have you included a quote from the article, an in-text citation, and a reference on the references page for the article? So that is everything that you need to know other than learning about self-care and reading the article. The last page of this document, sometimes it takes more than one page, is the rubric. And why is this important? If you're not paying attention to the rubric, both before you turn it in and after you get my feedback, you're missing something, right? So I know that I will not get 25 points if I do not have direct quote, incorporated properly, supporting the topic, and having an in-text properly formatted citation. I cannot score that high if I don't have that. If my paragraph doesn't flow easily, I'm not going to get the full 25 points. So doing the rubric, looking at the rubric ahead of time can help you know, oh gosh, it's a reminder. I got to check my APA format. I got to check my paragraph length. So make use of those, make use of the rubrics, not only after you get the grade, but before you even turn it in. So very quickly, I know it's supposed to be a mini lesson, it's getting a little long, but let me take a quick look with you at the document itself. So this is the self-care assignment. It's not written out. I did this live during the session, so it doesn't have real paragraphs, but it looks exactly like yours should look. It has a header with the page number, APA. It has the title page in APA. Has self-care. I would need to include my own name as a student, my department, the course number, the instructor's name, and the due date. I did not fill those in, but that's what goes in those spots. The title, it appears again at the top of page 2 for APA formatting. Then we have one paragraph about our own chosen self-care strategy. And then we have a paragraph that has, right in the middle, a direct quotation that is cited. Then we have a follow-up, and then we have the references page. This is what I was talking about earlier with the hanging indent. This is what we do in APA, and in order to do that, you typically use the ruler to move that bottom part over. If you use one of the templates that is supplied by the school, or you use one of the documents that I provide, it's already done for you. You just have to type over it or whatever. In this particular case, I did share this document, and so you had the reference page already done properly. But if you don't follow one or more of those requirements, then your grade's not going to be great. So if you don't understand the directions, make sure you reach out to your instructors and ask. But do really pay special attention to the instructions, because I promise you that is the #1 reason why people lose points. It's just that they didn't do what was asked of them. So follow the directions and your life will be happier. Everybody take care. Happy mini lesson.